afternoon, good evening, friends. Welcome to the sofa. We're hanging out with Shadow today. We'll see how long he actually wants to hang out with us. He might get over this very quickly, but he's here. Oh, you can barely hear me. Okay. Let's move myself closer. Let's turn this up. Hello. Can you hear me now? Actually, I can probably move this over here now. We were in a completely different setup all of 2 seconds ago, and we've just now rearranged everything, so we'll see. Yeah, that did it? Okay, perfect. I can't super see the chat either. I have it up on my phone just to try to make it a little bit easier for myself. But yeah. Hello. You're sus. Yeah? Are you sus? He's like, I did not consent to being involved today. Is that what happened? You are asleep. He is asleep, you guys. Okay. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Yeah, so he's gonna be hanging out with us today, hopefully. I just want to make sure. Okay, trying to make it so that we can see Shadow, but we can also see the crafts. So can we see him on? Okay, so we can see him here. Oops. And then if we put this here, because what I'm hoping is that we can do some stitching and you guys can see this, maybe, sorta kinda, but then also see Shadow. Now he's being blocked by stuff. Okay. This is an imperfect system, you guys, but we're going to attempt. I did say we would be sacrificing art for potential Shadow views. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, guys. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the sofa. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're having a good, happy Friday. There we go. We can see this. You can see Mr. Shadow. He might go belly up later. I feel like that's when it's going to be fun. If he goes belly up and you see his feet just splayed everywhere, I think that would be a fun time. But until then, we're going to attempt to continue working on this from, a very precarious position. But yeah. How are things? Let me get stuff set up. We have stuff here. The sofa's it's like an L shape. So I sort of have the various things that we need set up here. And then we have the craft here, and then the rest of the sofa, which Shadow is currently taking up. I made sure to tire him out today because I knew, I was like, okay, we're going to attempt to have Shadow hang out for the majority of stream today. So I gotta make him super tired because I think that's the only way that's going to happen. So we went to the field today. We sort of have our two big forest adventures that we do. So I'll go to the forest with him, and then we'll go to this field that's attached to a university near us. Trying to figure out, I'm sort of off, but it's the Shadow party today, so it doesn't really matter if you guys can see me or not. I don't know, kind of. Let's rotate slightly. Let's keep me a bit more in frame. Hi, Dung Day. Good afternoon. How you doing? We are attempting a cozy couch craft session featuring Shadow. Doesn't help too that he's such a dark dog that he sort of blends into his surroundings. But I hope we're doing well. We're gonna hopefully work a bit more on this. Let's see. You got your nails done today. Oh my goodness. What did you get? What is the theme for March? Please share. You went to an aquarium yesterday. Ooh, Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds really nice. If you guys remember, obviously we had finished... Let me twist this around so you can see. This is what we ended up with at the end of last session. So we got our little bat pendant and our little spider legs, and we finished one of the stems of the flowers. So we still have some more back stitching to do today. So hopefully we can get that done, and then we'll be moving on to the other components. I think next on the docket is French knots, which we know how much... Oh no, it's satin stitch. Satin stitch I'm okay with. It's the French knots I'm not excited about. Pick in Discord. Perfect, perfect. Let me pull that up. Froggies. Oh my god, I love that. Hang on. Let me do this here. There's gonna be a lot of awkward angles today, guys. I'm doing my best. We're stretching. Oh my gosh. That's freaking adorable. Are you kidding me? I love that so much. Guys, look at these nails. Look at these adorable and little cherries and froggies. This is super cute. Oh my goodness, I love it. That's so cute. Why did I close this? That's what we wanted. Oh my god, I love it. They feel very like, they almost feel very summery, but very spring summery. They're very bright and vibrant. I love the purple. A green and purple combo is my jam. That is my favorite. I love that so much. Cool. Let's go back to the precarious nature of the things. Kid goes in green and black. He's so cool. Kiddo's the coolest, truly. He's so cool. That's awesome. Did you get them just like alternating green and black, or is there green and black on both sides? Or on both sides on like the same nail? You're doing some spinning today. Ooh, what colors are you working on? Are you taking a break from your cosplay stuff to do a bit of spinning? That's exciting. Yeah, alternating. That's awesome. I painted my nails the other day. It's been a few days now though. You can't really see, the light doesn't really do it justice, but they're linear hollow by Hollow Taco in magenta jelly, which is really cute. It kind of, it's like a bit of a brighter version of like the sweater that I'm wearing right now, which is cute. Pastel rainbows. Ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, no, at Twitch. Oh, really? They put a call for content applications for Artist Alley drag shows. Oh, that's annoying. I wonder why. I wonder why they've not put that in, like, unless they're still trying to figure out the information, but that's not good. I assume they're doing one. I feel like that's probably a very big part of their content is to have the cosplay contest, so they should really sort that out. They should really sort that out. Alright. We'll see how long this is. I don't know. Again, we're experimenting with the couch situation. If it works, cool. If not, we'll see a disservice to my back, maybe. Aw, guys. The best thing happens. I actually have to get Liam to send me the photo. But last night, because I've told you guys many a times how Shadow doesn't snuggle with me, or he snuggles with me, but not like the same way that he snuggles with Liam. Oh, a big stretch. And the other night, he literally, we called him onto the sofa. He came over. We were over on the other end of the sofa. And he came up and he just fully laid on me. And we then, like, covered ourselves in a blankie, and then he, like, full on was, like, resting his head on my shoulder. And I was like, this never happens. This is the best day of my life. So I don't know what kind of a mood he was in, but he full on snuggled with me. And then at the end, Liam was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, my back was a little sore afterwards. And he's like, well, yeah, it's uncomfortable. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I will be uncomfortable if that means that my dog will snuggle with me. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some of us put hours in streaming it. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when the requirements are so high. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be streaming however much content for it. So you're like, I would like to have the information in order to further progress. That just feels like the more considerate thing to do. I assume, or... Okay, there we go. So what we're doing now, which you can kind of see... We did say, I did tell you we were sacrificing the images of the art today for Shadow, but it's okay. Yeah, big stretches. But like I said, we will see if he goes belly up. I don't even know. Can you, so here's his head. I don't know if you can see that. I think the embroidery thingy is in the way. And this is his arm, and then there's his belly. And there's his feet here, and his tail, and his butt. Like, there's the anatomy of the dogs. I feel like sometimes when they're just, like, lying in little balls, you can't even really tell, like, what side's up and what side's down. I'm like, what direction is he in? I don't know. You can see him. Okay, perfect. Perfect. That was the plan. That was the goal for today, was to give you guys some shadow content. So as long as we are achieving that, that's all that matters. Yeah. But yeah, so we went to the field today and had a big run around, which was nice. He made some doggy friends, like he always does. Yeah, our black fools kind of curl up into balls. It's true. They kind of turn, there's like a few different ways that they like to hold themselves in. Some of it is like little donut mold. Like donut mode where they just tuck themselves in and you really can't tell him. It's when he goes belly up and he twists himself, and so it's like his head is down where his bottom feet are, but then it's just kind of legs and arms and twists and turns. It's quite bizarre, but it's awesome. But yeah, that's the only thing with a dark colored dog on a dark colored surface. But it was really cute. We ran into this, I guess, like this, well, yeah, this elderly man. He was saying he was turning 87 this year, who was out because the field that we go to, it has sort of like a concrete kind of tarmac around it, so you can take like push chairs and wheelchairs and stuff like that around it. So he had one of those like walkers, and of course I think he had just finished zooming around with another dog or something, and so I ended up having a chat with him, right? He was like, oh, like, you know, he must be like he's quite full of energy and stuff, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna be asleep on the sofa all afternoon after this. And then I said, oh, you know, I made a joke to this guy. I was like, oh, when you get home, are you gonna have a nap on the sofa too? And so this guy is like, oh no, you know, when you get to my age, if all you're doing is sit in front of the sofa and sleeping, then, you know, that's sort of a sign it's going downhill and stuff. And he says, no, I try to get out and do my, like, mile walk and stuff. And I guess he was saying that obviously because he's older, you know, during the pandemic, he was deemed high risk. So he was essentially locked down completely for the entire, like, kind of almost 2 years, right? And so when that happened... I'm already going to tell. I know, right? Honestly, same. And so he was saying, obviously, when he first... So, you know, since he was locked down the whole time, he was like, no, I want to get back out and keep being, you know, healthy and going for walks and stuff. But he said, you know, his wife, unfortunately, he said, oh, I think she's lost her confidence or she's quite nervous. And so she doesn't really get out of the house that much anymore. I think being confined in that space for so long, it's sometimes difficult to sort of get to a place where you feel confident going out again, especially when you're like probably in your 80s, you know what I mean? And so I guess she doesn't go out much, but luckily this guy has this neighbor who's, you know, not as old as him, but is a little bit older, and it looks like they're walking buddies, which I thought was really nice. So he's like, oh yeah, this is my neighbor here, and she'll go out with walks with me because I want to keep moving and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, aw, that's really nice that she's out there like supporting him on his continued path to wellness. Yeah. But then we were chatting about Shadow, and he was like, oh, is he quite accident prone? Because that's one of the things that's quite common for greyhounds and like greyhound mixes, is because obviously they're so fast, but because they don't know how to decelerate, they're constantly like running into stuff. And he was saying how there's this guy in the neighborhood as well who rescues former racing greyhounds, and he said, yeah, they're so quick and they run off, but then they end up coming back and they're limping, and the owner's like, yeah, I have all these vet bills because they keep like injuring their legs. And I'm like, yeah, thankfully he's not done that in a long time, and even still he's not like fully injured himself. He just like cuts his leg up sometimes, because truly, like, sometimes he'll be running and he'll have backed himself into a corner, and I'm like convinced he's gonna KO right into the side of a wall. But he thankfully always manages to stop himself before that becomes a problem, so that's good. Hey? You accident prone. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so that was really cool. It was cool to... Because every once in a while, depending on the area, like, you run into people and they're like more chatty, less chatty, depending on what's going on. There was like a little... I don't know, like golden fluffy dog that was chasing after him today as well. And the owner was like fascinated by him and was like, oh, like, do you take him for walks twice a day? Like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, no, he's like a one and done. One and done. Cool. So we're not doing the leaves of this stem because that's going to be the fishbone stitch later on. So that one's done. Next we have this flower stem here, and then the spider. We have to do more spider legs. So I'm gonna flip this over. But yeah, so other than that, we've just kind of been chilling. I will say, I think I told Liam, I was like, I feel like I'm like, you know, maybe like 90, 95, 92, 95% feeling better now. There's just like that tail end. I guess like it's annoying because of course I understand why some people are just like ill all the time, because you just have life to do and get forward and do stuff. And sometimes there's just like stuff, like for instance, you know, I've been like congested and I've had like a runny nose and things. But then it's like, even if I didn't have a runny nose due to illness, you know, like that part's done. When you go outside in the cold and come back in again, your nose does start running. That's just kind of naturally what happens. So it's really difficult to like go through a period of time where that's just not the reality. And so I feel bad for people who are like, I would love to just take a minute to just sit and chill and not, you know, get too ill or anything, or like give your body a chance to recover. And sometimes the universe is like, nah. Yeah, exactly, right? Your nose is always clogged. It's not like you're ill 24/7, but you just got nasal concerns. Nasal issues. But yeah. Do you have, I know, you don't have like a deviated septum, do you, Kat? You just have like literal like congestion issues, eh? Both are not ideal, but yours is more like internal as opposed to external. Because some people have that where they can't breathe because their one nose, like nostril is really, yeah, just bad allergies. Yeah, I get that. I think that's probably what's happening with me too. You stopped taking all your allergy meds. Oh, how come? Were there too many like side effects associated with them? Or did they like conflict with other things? Because sometimes it's like certain medications will then like counteract or get in the way of other ones and close to your side effects. Yeah. Oh, interesting. That's, yeah. Sometimes you're like, absolutely not. You have to sort of weigh those pros and cons, when you're like looking to go on different things. The ones that I'm on, I'm not allowed to eat grapefruit products, which is funny because it's one of those things that I don't eat. Like, I didn't eat very often to start, but as soon as your body is like, oh, or as soon as there's like a restriction that's placed on you, you're kind of like, why do grapefruits seem so nice right now? What's going on with that? And it's like, it's because I've been told I can't have them, and now all of a sudden they seem like I had to get off of them to get allergy tested. Oh, really? You itch for a week straight. Yeah, I know. It's really random, isn't it? It just seems like such an interesting thing to be like, oh, there's... You also really hate grapefruit. I was never a fan of grapefruit until one time I stayed with my cousin and his girlfriend, and they introduced me to having like a half a grapefruit in the morning, but you cover it in sugar or like honey. It was like honey or sugar, and then it was really, really tasty because you're counteracting the like sourness with the sweetness, which I'm sure isn't the most healthy thing. So again, it's probably like my body is not worse off for no longer having them, but you keep pushing me. Yeah. I'd rather just eat an orange. Yeah, that's true, actually. Do you like those? Because I know, I really like the, like, cutie easy peel oranges. Liam's not really a fan, though. And so if he does, like, an orange, he likes one of those big ones. And I'm like, I don't like them. They're hard to peel. There's all the, like, white, gunky stuff on them. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the large oranges. But I think the only one I'm really, like, big on... Oh, yeah, I'll OD on those. OD on cuties. That's not the worst thing, I feel. I feel like ODing on citrus, you probably getting the vitamin C you need to keep yourself, you know, happy and healthy during the cold months. The only real, like, fruit that I've not gotten sick of, or, like, I'll go through phases with food. But pretty often, I'm, like, always, like, a banana a day, you know? I usually have a banana on my oatmeal every morning, or on my granola. I'm super into the only reason I'm not having a banana right now is because the bananas that we do have are not ripe yet. That's the only time I'm not eating a banana, is when the bananas I have aren't ripe, or we're out of bananas. But usually it's, like, an everyday thing now. You're allergic to bananas. Oh, you are? Yeah, did you develop that allergy later on in life? I think we've talked about this too, because my mom did that as well, where she developed a banana allergy later on in life. Which is frustrating. Yeah, I feel like I remember us talking about this. That one wasn't as straight as I wanted it to be. Yeah, and weren't you saying that there were, like, certain foods at Disney that you were like, I can no longer eat these now because of the stupid bananas? Yeah, thanks for banana. Yeah, I wonder, because I feel like a lot of people developed, obviously there's so many different varieties of apples, but I know people that have, like, sensitivities to apples and stuff, and I wonder if it's because of, you know, the sort of genetic mutation. I know sometimes, too, people were talking about the, like, the GMOs and pesticides that are used on products can sometimes cause allergies to develop. So if you never had, it's almost like you're not necessarily allergic to the fruit, you're like allergic to all of the stuff that the fruit is covered in to try to like help it grow better and stuff like that. This one actually is a little line here, but it's faded. Normally I would do the line up and then I would do the, whatchamacallit, the leaves afterwards, but we're going up to then come back down and do the spider as well. And my husband didn't used to wash fruit. Yeah, and I do it now. Yeah. I know it's difficult. But yeah, usually, especially too with like apples or like those kinds of fruit that have like a skin on them, there's usually some kind of like waxy coating on them and stuff usually, isn't there? Yeah, you're gonna go belly up. You're thinking about it. I can tell. Look at these feet. Look at these feet. But yeah, I think berries too, but it's annoying, right? Because the thing is, if you wash things, like when you wash berries, what then ends up happening is that they end up potentially going moldy faster, right? Because then there's more like water droplets on them. So it's this double-edged sword that you're like, okay, I want to wash this because they nasty. But then I guess it's like you only wash the ones that you're then going to consume at any one time. But then you're like, God damn. I'd like to just do it once. Like wash all the berries and then be done. But then you got to eat them quick so they don't go off. Go off. Try to wax all the fruit and then put it in a container. Yeah, wash. Yeah, wash, not wax. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I usually do too. It's like you wash them, put them in a container, and then you just make sure, hold yourself accountable to actually consume them in a decent amount of time. Could you imagine? You're like, ooh, I wax my fruit myself. I pre-wax my fruit. That would be wild. Nice and sunny out today, which is good because I feel like we're getting a lot of natural light for... You can bulk buy cheese and wax it? Oh yeah, I guess cheese does come in those sort of wax thingies, don't they? I've never even... You know, it's one of those that I never even considered. Like, oh yeah, I guess I could wax cheese myself. I wonder if there's like amateur cheese waxers. Waxologists? Fromage, I don't know. What would be the term? What would be the right cheese term for that which preserves cheese in wax? Rind enthusiast? I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting. Because I feel like that's the thing, like there's amateur like beekeepers and like yogurt makers and like when everyone's on the kombucha train and stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was amateur cheese waxers. What a concept. This is a bit not like the design, but that's fine. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm trying to make this like be a bit more natural, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a bit swoopy anyway. Liam and I made sure, sorry, Liam and I were like making damn sure that we went to bed early last night. And by early, I mean like a whole half hour before we normally do. Baby steps, baby steps. I think what's been happening though, at least for me, is like I've been having a lot of dreams and like tossing and turning and having a lot of really vivid dreams at night. Don't remember them now. I remember having some pretty vivid ones last night. I don't remember them, but I had some other ones. And then I find it really difficult to then like get out of bed afterwards. Like yesterday was rough. And usually what happens is I have the excuse of like, oh, Shadow will come to snuggle me after Liam goes to work. And then I'll like lie in bed with him for a minute. But he didn't even come into bed. So I was just like struggle busting to get out on my own. I didn't have him as an excuse. I was falling asleep at 8, but Chris made me stay up longer with TikToks. That's funny. You're like, you can't go to sleep yet. I have some funny shit to show you. That's truly, like, that's the same thing, not necessarily with TikTok, but that's what Liam and I do all the time. It's like, we always exchange, like, memes or funny videos that we've come across. They're usually dog-related in some capacity. He's come across a lot of, you know that, it's like a media group called The Dodo that usually does a bunch of, like, heartfelt, like, adoption and fostering dog-related content. So that's usually where he ends up finding a bunch of them. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There was one recently about this woman who was fostering a dog, and the dog was really anxious, and so she needed to get, like, squeeze cheese, and she made, like, she got a towel and basically made a line of squeeze cheese to try to get him to get into the boot of the car. It was really sweet. And Liam sent it to me being like, this is the kind of shit you would do. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Bend over backwards to make a dog feel better? Absolutely. I think at one point too, she was like getting him used to the kennel, so she was like sitting in the kennel and like getting him to go into it. And I'm like, yeah, I do the same thing. I remember when like we were trying to come up with solutions for Shadow to run fireworks night, and we made like a little like a little tent for him. And then I was like trying to teach him like, oh no, it's okay to come in the tent. So I'd like go in there and lie down with him and stuff to be like, look, it's nice in here. Come hang out. Bam. I always forget, because every once in a while, like, I see a lot of, I follow the Kent Greyhound Rescue on Instagram, and they're always talking about the dogs that they're, like, that they have up for adoption, or the ones that they've taken in for fostering and stuff like that. And I'm always like, oh man, like, I wonder if we could, you know, foster dogs and stuff. I wonder how he would do. The few times that he's, like, we've had other dogs in the house, like our friends' dogs, Shadow very quickly gets over it. He's like, I don't care about this creature anymore. And I don't know if it's because he's just tired because we usually have like gone to the park first or we've done something else with him, or if he's just like, I don't care. But then I guess, you know, being indifferent to another dog in the house is better than like being upset about it. Like, it's one of those where I don't think he cared that the dog was in the house, but he was just kind of like, I'm gonna lay on the sofa and do my own thing. I don't really need you to be in my presence or not, which I think is good, because then I think like if we did have a second dog or we did foster dogs, he might be like, okay, this is fine for now, but like not 100%. Oop. I'm guessing people who know Jenna. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her and Julian, and they foster greyhounds. It's interesting, too, because, like, Liam and I were talking about this, because when we first got Shadow, we didn't, obviously I've told you guys how we didn't know that he was a lurcher. We were told he was a Springer door, and then eventually, uh-oh. Guys, where did the needle go? Whoops. Did the needle fall out? Oh, it fell out into the leg warmer. Okay. Now I think it's down the sofa. We need a magnet. Let's get this. Let's get the strongest needle minder we have and see if we can rescue it. Uh-oh. Is it gone forever? This is the problem when you do things on the sofa. Hi! Hi, Saul! How you doing? We found it, guys. We found it. It's fine. It's fine. The needle is here. We almost lost a needle on the sofa. That would have been no bueno. But yes, hi, Saul. How you doing? Yes, we are attempting Cozy Couch Fridays. with I don't know how it's going yet. Shadow's here, and that was the main thing. That was our main goal for the day, was to, you know, have Shadow hang out with us. So yeah, originally he was over here on this side of the sofa, and it was gonna be a whole thing, and then literally about to go live, he then moved over here. So it's all good. You're okay. I love this idea. Excellent, excellent. Yeah. But yeah, so we are, you know, we still have, you can still see the crafting. It's like not as, you know, front and center. It's more about this little goober today. Yeah. But that's all right, you know? We can do both. We can do both. But yeah. But yeah, so like I was saying, because we didn't think he was a lurcher, and we found out that he was. And then I was like, oh, like, are we like lurcher or greyhound people now? Or is it more just like Shadow that's the kind of dog Shadow is, and if we were to ever get another dog, we wouldn't necessarily go towards that breed. It would just be like, oh, we lucked out with that. But like lately we've been watching a lot of videos of greyhounds, and keep like being, you know, people don't realize like they literally are just like the fastest couch potatoes. Like he's like this 95% of the day. It's only really that, like, you know, 5% where we go for a big walk and he gets a bit excited and hyper, and then he just like hangs out, you know? And it's like, yeah, actually that fits our vibe quite nicely. The only thing obviously with lurchers is like they're basically like sight hound mixed breeds, so sometimes they're mixed with different kinds of dogs that obviously would potentially inhabit different character traits from those other dogs. So that would be the only kind of real difference. But okay, make sure we keep track of this needle. Okay, so we are done all of our flower stems. Next we just have to make our spider section. I'm wondering, I might use a new bit of thread just to be safe. We don't want to run out of anything. The only thing with this one is, hopefully it'll be okay, but obviously we're doing this lazy daisy stitch with the idea that this stem will then join up with the petals. I guess worst comes to worst, if this doesn't work out, we can always go back in and back stitch to connect the points up appropriately. But yeah, I think it'll be okay. Though I am under the impression that if we're doing a daisy stitch here, then that means this is gonna be, but yeah, so maybe we won't start all the way down, but it should be all right. Yeah, exactly, right? Plans upon plans upon plans. I think that's the thing. Again, it seems to be that there are options when it comes to embroidery, and we're just going to embrace it. Embrace the options. Yeah. But no, it's been quite nice out in terms of the sun. It was like 2 degrees this morning, which I was not excited to go out and go walkies in there. But I think nice enough is it wasn't windy, and I think that's the big kicker, right? It's like you can be 2-3 degrees, that's fine. The issue is when you're 2 or 3 degrees and windy as balls outside. And so because it wasn't super windy out, all you had to do was bundle up and it was like, you're good. You know what I mean? Whereas other times it's like you bundle up and it just feels like the weather is going right through you and it's just not happening. But thankfully. See, the problem is I want to sit cross-legged because that is like my natural position. But then when you look at this, it just moves, it moves this. Here we go. This is better. This is better. We are coming up with different strategies. It's okay. Cool. It's good. Yeah, is it good, Shadow? Yeah, it's good. It's good, it's good. I'm waiting for the moment where he goes belly up and you guys are going to just see legs in the air. And he likes to wave them like you just don't care. Isn't that right? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, you do. Definitely. Okie dokie. Yeah, how's everyone? Anyone got any words? Does anyone have any weekend plans? I don't actually think I have anything going on this week. Oh, no, I do. Wow, that was rude of me. I'm going out for lunch with some friends tomorrow, which is what I needed to make sure that I was getting better for. Because my friend reached out and was like, hey, does anyone want to meet up for lunch? We have, like, a chat with a bunch of our, like, girlfriends and stuff. And so a couple of us could go. And I'm like, that was me when I was still, like, in the middle of, like, head cold fighting. And I'm like, I really want to go, but I'm not feeling very well. But I promise to get better so that I can be a part of this. So that is what's happening tomorrow. I'm going out for lunch. We're pulling down things in the attic to go through. Ooh, very nice. Yeah, I wanted to ask Kat if you've had the discussion with your mom/cousin about taking the crafting table to your place since it's not really being used. Or we've not broached that discussion yet. Oh yes! Monty Python night is happening on Sunday. That's true. Guys. Yeah, my mom bought the craft table, so she said take it. Oh, that's awesome. That's perfect. That's okay then. That's alright then. Let's see if this works here. Yeah, guys, if you're not following Saul and you like Monty Python and you like fun bits and variety and excitement, you obviously need to be following him so you can be aware of when the sketch show is happening. And these are sketches that are inspired by Monty Python sketches. Some of them, are they going to be recreations of like famous Monty Python sketches, or are they all like homages inspired by but not directly them? You know what I mean? Either way, it's going to be awesome. I don't know if it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, or if it's, you know? Either way, I'm excited. I love a bit of Monty Python flying circus. Some inspired, some recreations, some real footage and songs. Look at that. That's going to be a whole extravaganza. That's awesome. That's going to be just an extravaganza of British comedy culture realness that you guys are not going to want to miss out on. So that's what I'm doing on Sunday. I'm tuning into that. So you should join me. And then you're also doing, what is it? You're also doing a special evening. A special evening. Ooh, woo, woo. Wowie, wow. That's exciting. But yeah, so this lunch though, look, apparently there is a dress code to go to this lunch. We didn't realize. Was that a woo-woo? A little bit. I'm not really into internet culture, so I don't really know. That's just me being like a woo-hoo, a woo-woo, but not like a woo-woo, you know? Is that what it is? I don't know how to ooh-woo. Is that how you do it? I'm not sure. Either all goes in my head perfect. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just know that seems to be like a cute thing that anime girls do. I'm not sure. But yeah, so apparently I gotta dress smart casual to go have lunch tomorrow. And so I was like, I messaged my friend and I was like, it's a good thing you told me that. Also, I was gonna rock up in like leggings and a hoodie. And then I might have been denied entry to this, you know, casual. What is it? Smart casual. So for everyone who doesn't know, smart casual is like, I feel like it's kind of like jeans and a blouse. Like there's one of those where it's sort of like you dress, it's sort of like corporate business attire, but a bit more casual than that. So you sort of take your casual wear and your corporate business wear and you smack them together and have a baby, and that's smart casual, allegedly. But yeah. But it should be fun, because I usually attempt, or at least, you know, try to put some effort into myself when I see my friends, because I don't, like, see them very often. everyone's out living their lives and doing things, so, you know, we try to put some effort into myself for them, because they're worth it. Maybe they're worth it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's Maybelline. Okay. So we've now reached the spot where the second spider is going to be formed. Ooh, let me just rearrange myself. So get in formation. I will turn it around so you guys can see it after the fact. Oh. Hello. Is your face itchy? Do you want me to help? Yeah, you want me to help? Ugh, big sigh. Big sigh. It's tough being a dog, isn't it? It's tough being two. You got so much responsibility. Okay. But yeah, I'll have to get Liam to send me the photo, because Shadow actually chose me to snuggle with yesterday and like full on like laid on my lap and like put his head on my shoulder, and I was like gonna cry. I was like, I have been chosen. I am the chosen one. Because he doesn't usually snuggle with me the same way. Like, he sits on Liam all the time. Never sits on me. So when he does, I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. This is the greatest. So this shadow content is as much for me as it is for you. You know. This is me wanting to hang out with my dog and just coming up with an excuse to do it. Yeah, Gus will sometimes crawl into me and snuggle. It's true. It's true. Like, honestly, if a pet chooses to lay themselves on you, you were like, I have been blessed. I am the chosen one. I am truly, like, the greatest gift of all. It feels like a big deal. It truly does. Like, when an animal chooses you, it feels like a big achievement. You're like, this feels like I've peaked. Like, truly. I think it's only happened maybe twice where Shadow has chosen to snuggle up with me, and I'm just like, that's it. Cancel all my plans. I'm not doing anything else today. I need to enjoy this moment with my dog. Because, like I said, I don't know when it's going to come again. Because it's very few and far between. We do this quite a bit, though. This is actually, like, part of our routine, where I'll usually sit here, watch TV, and then he'll usually have his head, like, crooked by my leg and stuff. So this is how we usually snuggle, is just, like, with his neck, his head near me. Yeah. But when you do the full-on, like, lay down on you snuggle, I'm like, this is incredible. Because he'll jump into bed with Liam in the morning, and he'll full-on, like, little spoon. And I'm like, I don't get that. But it is really cute. We've worked out that Liam gets the morning snuggles before he goes to work, and then I usually get the evening ones. You guys are so adorable. It's my bestie. Yeah. He said how Gus was had a puppy and he would crawl on my arms and flop his head over my shoulder. No more to do. Yeah. It's honestly the best. And I used to carry him quite a bit. Like, again, well, I guess to be fair, because we got him in the pandemic, so Liam was home a lot at first, so. But now it's just me and my buddy. Okay, we are now almost done the shadow legs. The shadow legs. The spider legs. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, it's actually really funny because my brother-in-law, when we got Shadow, like, would share photos of him with his friends. He still does. And I guess they use it, like, as currency. So Shadow's, like, this little celebrity in this household. We've actually, like, I've met his friend before. She's really cool. But we've not, like, met the rest of her family. And I love how it's like, oh, I gotta send new Shadow photos to them. Because I guess the family, they don't, like, her siblings and stuff, they don't talk a lot to each other. But it's almost like Shadow photos are, like, social currency. They'll be like, look, there's new Shadow photos. So I think that's really funny. You're bringing people together. These legs are looking a lot smaller than the other ones. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's fine, though. He'll just be at an angle. You know, the spider will just be at a bit of an angle or something, you know? That seems normal. That actually kind of works. It's kind of like the spider is, like, tilted slightly. So I think it's okay. I'll show you guys in a minute once I finish its fourth leg on this side, 8th leg in total. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. Ew. It's fine. It's fine. I'm actually getting a little warm. I think it was cold all day, and now we're finally warming up. Okay. See what I mean? So see how these spider legs are just like the tiniest bit shorter on the other side, but it kind of looks like they're angled, so it's fine. Oh, hello. There you go. Go belly up. Give the people what they want. There it is. Womp, there it is. Womp, there it is. Yeah. So there's our two Spidey boys. Spidey boys. Spidey boys. Yeah. It's like, do you guys remember that Victoria Beckham meme? When she was like reading a magazine or was on her phone and her leg was just straight up in the air? He pulls this pose all the time. Like, this is the standard sleeping pose. This is what he does. Yeah. I'm like, this is the Shadow pose. So like sometimes, you know how normally we'd be streaming over there, and then you would just see feet just pop off over the side. Yeah. Hello. Look at these teeths. You can see him here. Look at these teeths. Yeah, just splayed out. The best too is I'll be sitting here and then all of a sudden I'll go belly up and you'll just get like a nose or like a foot in the face. And you're like, okay. Okay, how are we gonna do this now? There we go. What if we move this slightly? Would that be better for you? It doesn't help too that because we sit in this corner of the sofa all the time, there's a full dip in the side of the sofa, and so I'm like on an angle right now. We will come up with a better system. We will come up with a better system for Cozy Couch Fridays. Okay. I think now after this, let me check. We're actually finished all of the back stitching. So that's really cool. So all of the initial back stitching that we needed to do, say finito. So we're now going to move on to the satin stitch, which is like the infill section, and we're going to be doing instead of the one strand that we've been doing for all the back stitching, we're now doing 2 strands. Now I'm just gonna have to remember how to satin stitch, because back stitching I knew. I was like, okay, I know how to back stitch. Like this is my jam, you know? I know how to do this. This is cross stitching 101. But the satin stitch, that's not something I've ever done before. You comfy, sir? And like, does it not look like it's the most uncomfortable position in the world? And he's like, no, this is my preferred position. And also, so imagine too, he's doing this, but then he's also twisted himself into a donut as well. That's also a common position, isn't it? Common sleep pose. Okay. So we can actually still use this for, here, let's show you. Here it is. So far. Ta-da! So now we need to do satin stitches in the shirt. So the tank top is going to be satin stitch, which is us filling in. The back pendant is also going to be a satin stitch. And I think that's everything in terms of satin stitching, which is interesting. There's no more, is there any more bees on the map? No. So that's it. There's only 2 sections. Oh, you got stinky feet, sir. You do. You want to hear about that? That's like a thing where dogs will get like cheesy Dorito feet, or they call it like Frito feet. And so I don't know if it's probably like a fungus or a bacteria or something, but it like makes the dog's paws kind of smell like cheesy Doritos. Yeah, they smell like corn chips. Corn chips, cheesy Dorito feet. Yeah. Though his kind of just smell more like dirt, you know? Yeah, it's bacteria. Mm-hmm. No, they just kind of smell like dirt. And then sometimes, it sounds really bad, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll take his paw and I'll go beep boop 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 beep boop boop. And you go, hello. Hello. It's for you. He's like, whatever. Go away, Mom. I'm sleeping. Okay. I think we can still, yeah, we can do it this way. This works. Yeah. So now we're doing 2 strands. So I've just put it through the needle and I'm just gonna knot it and assume that that's gonna be fine. Because as long as we're making 2 stitches or 2 strands worth. Let's also refresh our brain of how to do said satin stitch, because right now I think it's just doing straight stitches but then just moving over slightly. And now the thing that I'm not sure about as well is while we're doing the satin stitch to fill in the shirt, like I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be doing completely full like meet moot, or if I'm doing like this, like almost, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm doing full length satin stitch or if I'm sort of like cutting the torso in a couple quadrants maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. It doesn't really explain. There is a picture here, but again, it's all black, so I can't tell. I guess as long as it's colored in, it doesn't really matter. Oh, timber. But yeah, like you can't really see where and how deep the stitches are, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I guess we can just do it and find out, eh? Fuck around and find out. That's the back stitching. Okay. Yeah. I think it's meant to be maybe slightly smaller stitches because the way that the tutorial is going, it's like, okay, like don't make them super long. Maybe? I'm not sure. Okay. Bring it back up from the other side of the fabric right next to where you stitched. Ensure it comes up on the outline of the shape you were stitching. Okay. I think we just kind of need to, I think they're supposed to be smaller. Yeah, okay, cool. That's what I'm thinking. So I think that's what we'll go with and hope for the best. Let's gear up for that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll start we'll start with the bat, filling in the bat because it's smaller, and therefore, if we fuck up, it won't be as noticeable. Yeah. Okay. Long threads would be kind of loosey-goosey. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, we are just... Okay, are we starting from the bottom? Whoop! Starting from the bottom now, way here. Okay. Create a backward stitch. No, that's back stitch. What am I doing? Bring your needle back from the underside of the fabric right next to... Yeah, okay. I don't know if it matters. It doesn't seem to matter, so I think I'm going to start from the bottom and move our way up. That seems appropriate. Now... Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're just filling in. We're just filling in. The only thing I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. The only thing I'm concerned about is possibly the point not being filled in. Oh no, that's fine, I think. We're basically like coloring in with thread. That is my understanding of this. So far, so good. I think we're just gonna, as long as we keep them like close together enough. I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass. We don't know what we're doing. We're just hoping for the best. Okay? We're just all out here trying our best, aren't we, Shadow? I guess, to be fair, if we overfill it, I don't think that's the end of the world. You know what I mean? I think if anything, overfilling instead of underfilling is probably okay. I don't know. I can't see what the potential downfall to overfilling could be, except for the fact that you probably use like unnecessary amounts of thread, maybe. But I don't think it matters that much. Because also, this is DMC thread in this kit, and you know I have a bunch of DMC 310 stashed away. So if we ran out of thread in the kit, I could fill it in with thread I have. So that's not a concern. It's probably a good thing. I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, we were only doing 2 things in this satin stitch, but it's probably for the best, because I have a feeling that this blouse is gonna take a while. It's gonna take a minute. Maybe I'm so warm because you keep, your snoot is warm. Yeah, you breathing on me. That's fine though. I wouldn't have it any other way, my dude. I wouldn't. Hi, Chain! Last Chain! Hello, hello. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? Welcome to our first inaugural cozy couch session featuring Shadow. We're gonna have to finesse this this arrangement, but so far it's working out okay. So far, so good. But yeah, I hope you're having a happy Friday so far. Hope all good things are coming your way. Boop, 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 boop. I also noticed, guys, we're 2 follows away from 270, which is kind of exciting. Feel fine that you're having me. Of course, of course. You're always welcome. Always welcome. We are just vibing out together on this fanciful Friday. You did miss Shadow waving his feet in the air like he just don't care, but that could probably happen again, you know? It will probably happen again. Shadow is nothing but inconsistent in how he likes to sleep. So he'll be in one position for, 5-10 minutes, and then he'll switch to another position. He'll full on get up and move parts of the sofa, like move to different parts of the sofa, sorry. He just does his own thing. And we wouldn't have it any other way. No, we wouldn't. This seems to be going well. Knock on all the wood, This is we are infilling. We are filling, and it seems to be going well. I guess the only other potential concern, not about overfilling, but like that you could mess up doing this, is that if you overfill in a way that like pushes the back stitching out of the way, is that even possible? Maybe like it'll make it look chonkier than it was. I'm not sure. Just filled in that gap. I do think I didn't go all the way up here though. Is that still gonna be fine? Oh, that seems okay. It's not, there's like a tiny gap, but I don't think it's noticeable. It's okay. It's okay, you guys. I know you can't, I will show you when we're done, okay? I promise. You can't really see what's going on, but I will show you when we're done. So just hang tight. Oh, we're kind of losing the plot in terms of the fill. The fill is not filling the way I wanted it to. I think I just fixed it though. I don't know. We're kind of just, I don't know. We'll see. That's why this is why we started with the bat first, because it is small. And so it doesn't matter if it's not 100% filled in. And also, I don't know if sometimes this then runs into the territory of like, because my face is like shoved into the frame and I'm looking at it so closely, obviously you can see all the little tiny like potential mess ups or little like mistakes or whatever. But it's like, when this is hanging on a wall, are you really gonna see the tiniest little gap in the fibers? I don't think so. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself, I think it's okay. All right. And then once, I do think, well, I don't know, we'll see if this will use up the rest of the thread. I wonder if we might have to use more thread in this section. I don't know. That would be interesting. But yeah, I feel like there are less rules with embroidery. Like, I feel like there are rules. Like, there's things that you should be, there's different stitches and whatever. But, like, in terms of this, it's like we're just filling in a hole with a bunch of straight stitches. And I feel like however we achieve that, as long as we are doing straight stitches and it eventually fills it in, I think it's probably okay, Except this here. I'll go a bit higher up. There we go. Oh, that's a bit tight. Push it back into place, I think. Maybe, perhaps. There's like a tiny bit that you can see in the outline, like outside of the the infill, but it's fine. It's all good. We're just gonna pretend that that's not what happened. Hi, Aurora! Blair trying to squat some food down me. Oh no, you haven't had lunch still. That's not good. Have you been running around like a headless chicken trying to get stuff done? This is a reminder to everybody. Here, let's collectively... If you haven't eaten yet, go make yourself some food. If you've not had a drink in a hot minute, have yourselves a drink. Take care of yourselves, friends. I know sometimes life gets in the way, but take care of yourselves. I care about you, and I want you to be healthy, happy, and thriving. That's my wish for all of you. So sort yourselves out. Just kidding. I don't mean it that aggressively. Okay. What are you hoping to have for lunch today, Aurora? What's the lunch plans? Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm actually getting kind of warm. I didn't anticipate that, but other than that. I am doing A-okay. There are some little gaps in here. Yeah, how's everyone else doing? How y'all doing? Everyone check in. What's going on? People doing well? People feeling good? People making good choices? Staying out of trouble? Just made some tea. Excellent, Nungday. What tea did you make? Ooh, that one is not. We don't like that. Okay. I feel like I'm kind of losing the plot in this infill a little bit. Things are getting a little clunky. Picking up my assistant. Oh, cool. Just a basic cuppa. That's fair. Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't need to be fancy. Yeah, I'm not capturing these. I'm not filling it in. The fill is not filling as much as I want it to. What's going on? I feel like we started off real good and now I'm floundering. Why? Why is that? Grabbed a sandwich from the office. I was trying to get little one to sleep. Oh, yeah. Aw. That's frustrating. Too much excitement, too much, disruption to the routine. That can be difficult. Taking care of my son. That sounds nice, though. That sounds really nice. But yeah, he's not interested. That's always the most frustrating thing with kids, eh? When it's like, okay, you're clearly tired and you're cranky about being tired, so go to sleep. And they're like, no, I refuse. Let me get even crankier about being tired, but still refuse to go to sleep. And you're like, you know what would solve all of your troubles right now? If you had a nap. And they're like, I don't want to. And you're like, but it would make it all better. Stop fighting it. Hydrate with coconut water. Ooh, that's nice. But yeah, sometimes, to be fair, this applies to people too. I think this applies to adults as well as babies. Like, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. Because I feel like I do the same thing, where I'm like, I should go to bed. And I'm like, or I can continue to stay downstairs and stare at my phone for another hour and a half. I'm like, bitch, go to bed. You'll feel so much better if you do. But we just can't help ourselves sometimes, can we? You do that too, yeah. Bitch, go to bed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes you gotta give yourself some tough love. You go, listen. Snap out of it. Get your ass to bed. Okay. I think we're making the stitches okay now. Again, I have to remind myself that from a distance, it's okay. Except for this part. This is a little bit not, but we're still getting the point across. It's still okay, I think. It's okay. Maybe. I feel like with this, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like almost like he's extra doubling down. He's like, that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it's like trying to present logic to a toddler is already like hard mode. And then one with extra neurological processing difficulties is like hard mode times 2, you know? Probably not times 2, probably more like times 4. So, yeah. But hopefully he tires himself out and doesn't tire you out in the process of tiring himself out. That's always the goal. Okay, I think we've successfully infilled. This is kind of looking a little bit more like one of those moths, maybe? Like, you know, I don't know. Like, it looks kind of like... Like, what's that moth from Silence of the Lambs? Kind of. There it is. It still looks like a bat, but it also kind of looks like a moth. But it also, as long as it's still reading spooky vibes, then it's okay. I got food now, so I'm okay. Yeah, that's true. To be fair, when you're battling with a toddler and you yourself are hangry, then that's gonna be. Yeah, the death's head moth. Exactly. Aw, Chain, thank you so much for the sub, bud. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'll have to send you, actually, let me do this right now. We're gonna, here, there, look at the baby. You can't really see him, but here you go. Look at for 3 months too, da-damn. Cause I don't know if you've been invited to the Discord yet, so we are gonna fix that right now. And invite you over to the Discord, to the tea party. Guys, when you sub, you get an automatic Discord invite. You can use your channel points to get invited to the Discord if you want. But you got those options. So I'm going to whisper that to you now. And then I don't currently have my tree with me. It's upstairs. But Last Chain, if you could let me know what color you would like your name to be on the tree. You recommend Chai Crew. Yeah, I need to actually make a post about the roles in the chat. We've organized our roles to be just tea related. So I'll have to like actually make a post on the Discord being like, here's how you select the tea that you want to become a part of. But also, yes, so I can add you to our tree. Let me know what color you want your heart to be so I can fill it out and I can add you to the sub tree. But the sub tree's upstairs right now and I've succumbed to the comfort and chaos of the sofa, so we're staying here for now. But I will, you will be added. Okay, he's full on Sparkoed. You are. You full on Sparko. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Hmm? So what happens when you run around and play with friends? Last Chain. Let's see, this keeps going down. I love chai. Turkish black tea is the national drink for me. Ooh, and a comment. That sounds really nice. I wonder how Turkish black tea would compare. Oh, Potato! Thank you so much for continuing your sub, friend. How you doing? Good morning to you. Do you have your coffee? Go get your coffee. Where's your coffee? How do I know which tea team I'm in? It's the color that you're highlighted in the Discord. So maybe, let me see. I don't know how this shit works. Here, continue to stare at the sleepy baby while I try to figure it out. Almost on my coffee, but need more. My cat is on my lap. Damn, the cat can't. You're like, I'm busy. I can't. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so it's the color that you are, but I don't know. Yeah, you are also in Chai Crew. Where's the snood, though? It's too warm for the snood. The snood is for outside. To be fair, we've not worn the snood outside, so... Let me see. Yeah, I must have to assign... Because I've assigned people colors, but I must be able to do a way where I can assign the roles within... So online. So basically your color indicates your... team, but I don't know. We'll work that out, though. We will work that out. I am sleeping on the snood. I am. Yeah. I think it's too hot for the snood right now. He can't handle the snood. You can't handle the snood. I know there's a way for us to click and assign ourselves one, but I don't know how to do it. Yeah, see, I still don't 100% know. Try versus Earl Grey, tough choice. It's true. It is true. Also, too, it could depend on what color you like. So, Saul doesn't give a shit about tea, and that's fine. We still love him. He's still allowed to be here. But his favorite color is yellow. So, obviously, he's now in the chamomile crew purely because it's a yellow category. Not because he likes that particular tea. So, I get to click icon on a post and it'll sign something. Yeah. I'll have to do some digging. Again, I still have very basic bitch knowledge in terms of... I appreciate it. Exactly, right? You bring other things to the table, so your lack of tea enjoyment is forgivable because, you know, you do have other things going on. You can, okay, cool, yeah, please tell me. Tell me what your favorite tea is. I always like learning about new teas. Okay, I think we made this too short to cut or to make a good knot in it, but it's fine. Like biscuits? Yeah, that's true. You can bring, ooh, rosehip tea. Ooh, that's nice. You like a bit more of like a floral, that's like a nice sweet tea, I think. Does it have like a green tea or a black tea base? Or is it just rosehip? That's really nice. Sorry, I'm just attempting to tie a knot with a small piece of thread, and it is not going well. Tea biscuits. Yeah, you can bring biscuits. Always. Mini cheddars. Yeah. Mini cheddars to the tea party. Wow. To be fair, I feel like maybe, you know, cheese. Cheese is quite a bougie thing. People usually have, like, wine and cheese nights. We have tea and mini cheddar nights. You know, I think that that's both appropriate. Just rosehip in Germany is called, ooh, Hagebutten tea. I like that. We are Cheddies. Yeah, Ched heads. Cheddar heads. What's your favorite type of cheese, guys? Do you like cheese? Throwback to our She's the Man reference ages ago. Oh, what are Cheddies? They said we are the Cheddies. Whoops. Mini cheddars are like a type of, they're a type of cracker that come in like a little packet. So they're called, they're like, me saying the word cheddar like an idiot. Yeah, right? Cheddies! But yeah, mini cheddars are, yeah, they're like a cracker. They're kind of like a Ritz cracker is the best way, like a, you know the like mini Ritzes? But cheddar, yeah, I kind of think that they're sort of like a cheese flavored Ritz cracker is sort of the best way I can describe it. I think. Possibly. I love cheese, so I'd try it. Yeah. You know what I miss? One, because they're gluten-free, and, you know, not gluten-free, sorry. And two, because they don't really exist here, is, like, Ritz crackers. They did, like, Ritz minis, and they did little sandwiches. And they had, like, 2 little mini Ritz crackers with, like, this sort of real, it's almost, like, kind of foamy, plasticky kind of cheese. They used to do mini Ritz ones with peanut butter in the center as well. Like Ritz Bit. Yeah, Ritz Bit sandwiches. Exactly. Ritz Bits. I used to love those. I definitely used to be obsessed with those. Oh, did I show you? I showed you the bat, right? Before I got confused. Here's the bat. We filled it in. I think we did all right. So now we need to attempt to fill in the top, the shirt of it all. So we're gonna see how that goes. Are the most staples for work and kept them all for me. I love that. I love how you're just constantly finding the best snacks at work. And as you should, steal those snacks for you. Okay. Let us attempt more stitching of the satin variety. And hope for the best. Chain, thank you, I'm going in. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna make another knot in here, and then we're gonna attempt some more satin stitching. So far, so good. But yeah, definitely love Ritz Bits. Again though, not gluten-free, so can't have them. I wonder, I'm sure the cheese that's in those is not real cheese, but like sometimes the best cheese is the cheese that you know is not real. Just like the artificially type stuff. Don't make Kate enough. It's true, it's true. Hey man, you gotta take the perks when you can. Kiddo just called me downstairs. Look at what he made in Minecraft. He made a naked woman, but with black bars covering her boobs and bits. Hey man, what a smart kid. He knows. He's like, I gotta censor this, guys. I gotta be appropriate. So he's like, this is me. Nacho cheese from the ballpark. Exactly. Or like the nacho cheese that you get with nachos at movie theaters. Though to be fair, the movie theater nacho cheese in Canada is better than the movie nacho cheese in the UK. Actually, the nacho cheese is okay. It's the salsa. I remember having nachos at the movies at Cineworld, and the salsa was rank. I have no idea why it was so gross, but I was like, I hate this so much. Why? How did they fuck up salsa? I don't understand. He wouldn't let me look under the bars. It's not allowed. Yeah, exactly. Good for him. He's like, listen, we're respecting this lady's privacy. My fake Minecraft lady. What a cutie. You can buy a can here. Yeah. I wonder if you can buy squeezed cheese here. You can find queso. Oh, one time Liam and I made queso on the stovetop. It was unreal. It was like decadent liquid cheese. It was glorious. So good. But I also just like the Doritos brand queso mix. Again, probably not good. Great word. What, decadent? That's the word of the day, friends. Okay, now we're filling in. I want this to be a bit thicker than, obviously, the bat one. Maybe here? This seems like a good length, maybe? They're apparently very delicious. I've yet to try them. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Because I feel like Doritos brand has had dips for a long time. From my knowledge. Maybe they've never come to the States. But yeah, because you can get, like, they have their sort of like salsa. They have their different salsas. And then they have a queso. And then I think they also have like a sour cream sort of type of dip. But obviously like a not refrigeratable version. Like a shelf stable one. So... Oh, cool ranch flavored dip. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. So, like, outside of your traditional, like, nacho flavored ones. They've recently released new flavors here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They released, like, new pizza flavored Doritos here. I've seen those. That, and I really like getting the ones that are just, like, a hint of. So you can get ones that are, like, Doritos with a hint of paprika, a hint of salt, and there's one that's like a hint of sour cream and onion, and those ones are very nice. I can't find them very often, but one time I picked them up and Liam was like, those Doritos, those are the good ones. I'm like, cool, noted. I'll make sure I pick those ones up next time. That will be the plan. But yeah, I can't find them very often. I like sweet chili Doritos. Yeah. The thing with Doritos, at least for me, is some of the flavors do have wheat in them, so I have to be careful when I'm finding the Doritos that I want. But luckily more and more of them seem to be okay. Oh, there was this like fiery cheese one time that Liam and I got, and we didn't realize that it was like a spicy cheese, and those ones were a mission to eat. Like, you couldn't, like, no. Sometimes things are too spicy, and like, they're edible, but it's just a bit more of a struggle to consume them. Is this gonna take forever? Maybe. I don't know. Yay! Last chain's in the tea party. Anybody else who's in the Discord who's not filled out your introduce yourself section, make sure you do that so then I can add you to our map of friendship as well. Because I gotta know where you are to do that. Not like exact location, we don't want anyone doxing themselves, just general area. I think most people have, so it's okay. But I think a few people have not. Look at all this progress. This is gonna be a minute. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. I'm also sitting maybe not the most ergonomically, but it's fine. It's worth it. Yeah. Oh, a big stretch. Yeah.
Hey, check your posture.
Check your posture. Listen. We gotta... It's finding the balance between, like, sitting properly, making sure you guys can sort of see what's going on. I guess I could move you up a bit higher. We could maybe try that. Let's see. Okay, you need to go here. This needs to come up here, maybe. Hello, welcome to my forehead. And then this can go. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. And then, like that. That's a bit better. Forehead cam. Hello, forehead. There we go. And then if we do this and twist that maybe. It's not, oh, and then, you know, not bonk shadow snoot too much. And then maybe do that. Kind of. Sort of, kind of. Okay. Yeah, it's not, again, but we knew we weren't coming here for the crafts today. We were just sort of coming for the crafts. It was mostly for this goober. There we go. I appreciate that, Saul. I was gonna call you Shadow. I appreciate that, Saul. I'm like, you can't be a shadow, you are the sun! Big stretch. Okay. You can cause the shadow. That's true. That's true. You are the catalyst for shadow creation. That's another fun word, catalyst. I like that word. Okay. I think we do need to... I want to make sure that we're knotting these while we still have the capacity to make knots on this, because I feel like that doesn't make sense. We need enough thread in order to make knots in the fabric, and naturally we're gonna have a bit of extra that we have to throw out. But I'd rather do that. Break into song. I don't know if I know that song. My mom did that while she was here. Last time is she found a song. I think there was like an Elvis Costello song called Me and My Shadow. And so she played that and she was like, this is mine and Shadow's theme song. Okay. Or no, I think there was one, I think it was My Buddy called from Elvis Costello. Oh, nincompoop is a great word. I do love nincompoop. Nincompoop's a good word. Flabbergasted's a good word.
It's tea time.
Oh, thank you, Patats. Did you manage to get second coffee, or has your cat not budged? But yeah, I think we need to go for a really long piece of thread because we are also folding it in half. So maybe we do the whole length. That we don't want it to get tangled though. So maybe not too long. I don't know. See, we're already tangled. It's a mess, you guys. We already... No, but Wendy just jumped off my lap, so I'm gonna go do some now. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Wendy is like, you may now go have second coffee. She was like, I have allowed it. Enough time has passed. I will grant you safe passage into the kitchen for more coffee. And you're like, thanks, Wendy. Yeah, we've just made a big mess, but it's fine. We just want to make a longer thread. Okay, that's gonna be our working thread. We do need to / shout out Wendy. Yeah. Does Wendy have social media? Can we shout her out? Wendy, you the goat. But you're not a goat, you're a cat. I made a knot in the thread. Can I be asked to undo said knot right now? I don't think so. Oh no. If it was gonna be a difficult knot, it was gonna be a problem. But it's not. It's not a problem. Wow. Insult? I didn't insult. Who insulted Wendy? I didn't. I called her a goat because she's the greatest of all time. Not because she looks like a goat. Nuh-uh, I said you're a goat. You're the goat. As in G''O''A''T. I would never do Wendy dirty like that. Come on now. I would never disrespect her like that. No, there will be no Wendy slander. Okay, let me extend. I'm just trying to get this one strand of thread away from the pack. Oh, new show idea. Ooh, tell me the new show idea. While I try to get this thread apart. Chuff's Pet Talent Show. That would be awesome. Do you know lots of pets? Shadow knows some tricks. He knows a few. Obviously, his favorite is sleep. That is the favorite one. That would be cute though. And you should have pets from every category. You know, you need like mammal pets, you need fish pets. You know, amphibian pets. I bet there's like snakes and lizards out there that know tricks. I think so. I know a lot of streamers with pets. Could everyone record their pet doing tricks? Yeah, that would be cute. That actually would be really cute. I think that would be really fun. And also it would just be an excuse for me to gawk at adorable animals for like an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Depends how many people you know with pets. Yeah, I bet. I bet a lot of people do. Just making some knots now that we've got this out of here. Hopefully now we have a lot more threads. We don't have to collapse this as much. Okay. How you doing, Bubs? You doing good? He's like, I'm asleep. I'm great. Whoa, big stretch. You doing good? Yeah. Okay. So hopefully this is a good length for these satin stitches. We've also not attempted to like stack satin stitches before. We kind of did it in the test. It kind of looked all right. It looked a little bit clunky, so we're gonna try to not do that with this one. I think, again, it's hard to tell because obviously my face is so close to this. Movers are booked. It's happening, guys. It's happening. That's amazing because isn't it April, right? Is early April when it's going to be happening, or is it going to happen sooner? Guys, it's so exciting. Kat's going to be moving into this place that has like hella closet space. It's wild. She's going to have so much storage, and her and hubby are going to live their best lives. Yeah, April 1st. It's going to be so good. You're going to have your own space. You're gonna have so much room. It's like that, wasn't it, in the Step Brothers movie? You're gonna have so much room for activities. It's gonna be awesome. You have coffee. Excellent. Coffee's been procured. Check, check. Check mark. Closet space. It's true, honestly. I don't know if you saw, guys, if you're in Discord, Kat dropped the layout to the apartment that they're gonna be moving into, and it's wild. I'm like, UK living could never, you know? Did we just become best friends? Yeah, I'm like, UK properties could never have this much closet space. I also love dogs, but the barking is too much. Yeah. Oh yeah, is he not having? I think it's just in general. Hey, Kat, is that where you ended up posting it? We might as well pull it up. We can pull it up. Hello. Here's the side of my face. General channel. Let's just go back in and pull it up ourselves. We can do that. We have the ability. Do 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 do. Here is the side of my face. Yeah, here it is. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up and just gawk at. Wee wee wee. Look at this. 2 closets. 2 bathrooms. Excuse me. We didn't even talk about the fact that there's 2. We don't have a dining table or couch either. Yeah, that's true too. So you're not gonna have. Yeah, who needs that? This right here could be like, I don't know if you guys are into VR. You could have a whole VR setup over here. And then you could have the couch. It'll be really cool to see how you guys, because that's the thing, right? Like obviously you have your kitchen area. And then, or if you're gonna keep this arrangement or if you're gonna rearrange it opposite or do something a bit different. It's gonna be awesome. The tubs are huge. Yeah. Like not only, it's like, you know, people want like his and her sinks. Not only do you have his and her sinks, you have his and her tubs. You could both be having baths simultaneously. I do a VR. I'll do more Beat Saber now. Exactly. That's going to be so good. Yeah, this is the Beat Saber zone right here. Do 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 do. Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Yes, Patats is down. Patats is down. Does Wendy know any tricks? Does Wendy have any sweet skills? Liam had a VR setup. It doesn't really... He ended up taking it down. We eventually will figure it out, but he's not... Because he got one of the Oculuses when they first came out. But now, obviously, they've been bought by Meta, and you need to sign in with a Facebook account in order to use the Oculus now, and he's like, no. He's not, like, on social media. He doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. The most he's on is, like, Reddit. And so he was like, that's dumb. So, I think eventually the goal would be to get one of the other Oculus ones. Yeah. Yeah. I just tried to record a video of her jumping on my lap and she refused. Aw, she's got performance anxiety. She's like, nah. He could make a spam account for it. I think it's now more of the principle of it all. It's like, listen, this is silly. Especially because he had it and was able to use it, and then that happened after the fact, and you're like, if I'm being grandfathered into a system, I shouldn't have to change all of that. But yeah, maybe. That's wild. Yeah, exactly. I think because it's forcing you, because it's been bought by Meta, which is just another way to say Facebook. It's like trying to integrate everything. Yeah. There are other ones, though. I think there are other VR headsets that are not, like, that are not obviously from that system. I forget what the other ones are called. we've not talked about them in a long time, so I can't remember which are the other competing VR brands now. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, he wants... And then even too, though, like, have you guys seen, like, the metaverse videos? And it's like, you know, people who have, what are they called? Like, people who do, oh my god, VTubers. Like, VTubers have so much more refined mechanics than the whole metaverse. So I'm like, clearly it's possible. Because there's some incredibly detailed VTubers out there. And it's like, why does the metaverse look so trash in comparison to that? But I guess, I don't know, I guess if a VTuber is putting a lot of, like, I don't know how much it costs to make, like, an avatar, like a VTuber avatar. But I guess if you want a really good quality one, maybe it costs a pretty penny. And they're like, oh, we don't want to shell out the funds for that. Have everyone walking around looking like one of those, like Nintendo Wii people, the Weebles. You had to deactivate and then you reactivate to use Marketplace, or is it people setting up group pages? Yeah, it's true. Definitely, I think it's one of those where you kind of just get to a point where you're like, these are my preferences. I think it also depends too on like who you're needing to or trying to interact with people on them, because obviously like my yeah, I'm in the buy groups. Yeah, I think for me, because my grandma uses Facebook, or like I have a lot of older relatives, and that's a way to stay connected to them because they don't necessarily use Instagram. But a lot of my stuff now is cross-posted, so it's like I could kill two birds with one stone, which is nice. But yeah, it is interesting. I think a lot of organizations still use Facebook as a way to connect with people. I think just because they obviously have like older demographics and stuff too. I'm in the craft groups. Yeah, I'm in one of the craft groups. The craft groups. I'm sure there's tons of craft groups. I am in a craft group. That's at Marketplace and guffawed at it because people are trying to sell their used rotten couch for 1K. Really? Yeah, I'm sure it's very hit and miss in terms of like what you can sort of get on Facebook Marketplace and what you can sell on Facebook Marketplace. It's one of those things that I think it's doable, but I just, it's pure laziness on my part that I like don't want to faff about with all of that. The Heaven and Earth Designs is most used. 'Cause that's where they post new designs. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, sometimes there's groups that provide that extra stuff for you, so then it makes sense to be a part of them. I think I follow, well, to be fair, there's an Instagram version too, but my mom's, the quilt guild that her, my aunt, and my grandma are a part of, they have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, actually. So I like to follow that and then like all of their stuff to show support. Wowie wow, so much progress. Jeez. Has anyone else done embroidery where they've filled something in, and was it this time consuming? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but you know, if there's a faster, well, I don't know. Do we want to do it a fast way or we want to do it the right way? I don't know. What do you think, Shadow? He's like, I have no thoughts, I'm asleep. Sometimes you'll hear him dreaming. Never, but now I keep getting embroidery ads. Really? That's so funny. They're just like, you watch embroidery content. I bet you want to embroidery. Did you get punch needle ones then? And knitting ones when we were doing knitting stuff? Or no? Because I can see, obviously, because you cross-stitch, there is a bit of crossover in the cross-stitch embroidery sort of sides of things. But that's really funny. Nope, just embroidery. Interesting. I'm trying to think what I've gotten targeted ads for lately. Obviously nothing very memorable. Big shadow stretch. Exactly. Make sure to stretch. Stretch those legs, Chain. I see you have entered. You have joined the tea party. I appreciate you being there. 1986 gang. Ah, more friends. 80s babies. Oh, that reminds me. So I'm in the process. I've not launched it yet, but I'm in the process of coming up with a new channel point redeem called the Nostalgia Trip, where we take a little trip down nostalgic memory lane, and go over like trailers and videos from movies and TV shows and things that I was obsessed with, from childhood into like teendom. And I just remember, so one of the things that I never grew up with, but I became obsessed with because I rented a video of theirs from Blockbuster, was Gem and the Holograms. Do you guys remember Gem and the Holograms? I feel like 80s babies, you guys should know who Gem and the Holograms are. Obviously, if they didn't go outside of the US, then that might be not a thing, but I have two. I had a VHS of Gem and the Holograms and then Barbie and the Rockers, which was the Barbie, response to Gem and the Holograms. I think they were worried. I think they might have been, were they Hasbro? They were worried Hasbro was coming for their brand, so Mattel was like, we need an answer. We need a Barbie version of Gem and the Holograms, and hence Barbie and the Rockers was formed. So I had two VHS. You had their coloring book. That's awesome. So I had so of course when you would buy VHS tapes of of TV shows, there'd usually be 2 episodes in one VHS. So I had a Gem and the Holograms one, and it was one where I think they ended up on a cruise ship. And then the other episode was they were like doing these sport Olympics in Hawaii. It wasn't like Olympics, but it was like competitive celebrity sport day sort of thing at Hawaii. And there was a volcano eruption and there was all this chaos and stuff. So of course though, you had Gem and the Holograms and you had their competitive girl group, which was called the Misfits. And they were like the edgy version of Gem and the Holograms. Yeah. At least remember showing the coloring book. The thing is, I had never watched the whole show actually until I moved here, and I found like a cartoon website that just had all of these old cartoons on the website. I think the website's been closed down now, obviously, for copyright issues and things. But I basically binge watched the entire series because I had never seen it before. I had only ever just had those 2 episodes. I think actually there was another tape at the Blockbuster. So I think I had maybe only ever seen 4 Gem and the Hologram episodes in my life. Because I would keep just renting those 2 VHS tapes. And then when Blockbuster was going out, or every once in a while they would like sell off their old stock. Probably when they were transitioning away from VHS and into DVDs, I bought the one Gem and the Holograms one. But yeah, and then same with Barbie and the Rockers, but I don't think that was a TV series. I think that was just like, you know, how Barbie would always have different adventures, straight to VHS adventures. So this one was Barbie and the Rockers Go to Space. And that one was really cool. So it was like the first, Barbie and the Rockers were like the first rock band to perform on the space station. And they had this cool, like, montage of everyone getting ready before they performed on stage. And of course there was zero gravity, right? So there was like lipstick floating through the air and like makeup compacts. So they would be swimming around and then they would grab the lipstick because it was floating past them and stuff. Oh, gotta slip and slide. Yes, take care, Saul. I hope your stream goes well. I hope you have an amazing evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, I appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, so I remember that. That was very cool and very iconic. But that's just reminding me that I need to add those into... So I'm currently compiling a playlist of different nostalgic things. And then the idea is that if you would like to take a trip down the nostalgic lane with me, we would then watch some of these contents together. I also have to go clock out and go pick up Mothra from her labs. Yeah, no problem. Yes, it is Friday, Kat, so you get to be let out early for good behavior. See you later. I hope your mom's doing well. And again, thank you so much for stopping by. As always, I appreciate you. Yeah, we appreciate them, don't we? Early Friday is the best Friday. It's true. It's true. It's the best. Bye! How you doing? Still good? Yeah? Okay. Just checking. Just checking in. Yeah? Doing a check-in. Your breath kind of stinks. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that big yawn. He's like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care. Hello. Oh, are you on the move? Uh-oh. Are we losing? He's like, oh, geez, Saul and Kat are gone. I'm fucking going too. Bye. Is that what you're doing? Yeah? Hello. Do you want to move? Yeah? Oh, okay. He's like, you can now have my butt. Sounds good. Can you guys still see his face? Barely. Okay. Well, there you go. Just you're gonna see some butts now. That's fine. Regroup. See, this is what I say, right? I said this. He likes to switch it up. He doesn't just stay in the same position. It's been 2 hours. He's been laying in the same position for about 2 hours, which is quite rare for him, I feel. Making sure we're not accidentally stitching this extra fabric over here. Fill this little gap in here. Not bad, not bad. I do think we're sort of slowly going at an angle, which is not my intention. So I need to try to bring this back up again. I'm sure it's all right if we vary the satin stitch a little bit. What was it? It was called like high-low stitching. Short and long stitch. I think if we short and long stitch this, even though we're going to be just filling it in with more black, I think that would be okay. I don't think that would be the worst thing. But we'll see. I'm going to try to slowly keep this going back up a little bit. And then we're varying this because this is actually part of the scalloped edge of the top, so we don't have to go all the way back down again. So right now it's looking a little bit wonky, but I think that's again because we're moving down this diagonal. So it should be all right. We should fix it. Whew. The sun is starting to go down, but we're still fairly well lit around here. So that's good. That's all right then. I feel like my brain just short-circuited. I'm like, what am I doing? It's fine. We just keep satin stitching. Keep on keeping on. How you doing, Bubs? Yeah? He has this, like, we joke it's like the belly up button, where I don't think he wants to, but when he's like, sometimes he'll whine, and I think it's because he wants to go belly up and like splay his legs out, but he's like not feeling it. So if you like scratch the small of his back, then it'll like cause him to like move around and squirm and go belly up. So now I call it the belly up button, but you can tell he doesn't want to, so it doesn't work. It only works when you can tell he's like, oh, I really want to, but like, I don't know what. I don't know, sometimes he whines and it's because he's uncomfortable, but he's expecting you to fix it for him. He's like, I'm uncomfortable. And we're like, cool, do something about it. He's like, no, I'm uncomfortable. And we're like, cool, figure it out. And he's just like, oh, I guess I can. And you're like, yeah, you are a fully autonomous dog. You can make yourself comfortable. Sometimes he forgets. I think we might be sliding back down into shorter territory, so we need to slowly try to bring this back up again. Okay. I'm trying to think, how are we doing for time? We have an hour left. I don't think we're going to be finished filling this bad boy. I think this is going to take a while. But, so basically what the situation is we have the satin stitch, so this fill stitch is for the rest of this top. And then once that's done, we have French knots, which are all of the flowers on this, and then the spiders are filled with French knots, and the center of the lazy daisy flower is full of French knots. So that's interesting. It said 2. It basically said 2 for everything except for back stitching. Yeah. So I do think, again, that will contribute to the length of time it's gonna take to do this. Because I think you've mentioned this before, right? Where, like, you can obviously increase the amount, like, the thickness. So if you use, like, if we doubled it, then it would make it go... It would be thicker. Thicker and quicker. But no, it says 2. I do wonder, though, if I could probably get away with not making these gaps as big. Or making the gaps a bit bigger. That's what I think I'm trying to say. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Because I think I'm nervous, so I'm making sure that they're really, really close together. But I wonder if I could get away with slightly farther apart and I could still achieve the same coverage. I think I'm just a bit nervous about... Oop, that one. Damn. I'm not happy with that one. I want to try to make this go back on itself without... The only problem with tying the knot either side here. Did that come out? Yes, perfect. Okay. So, there we go. But yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's the right thickness. I guess I won't know. I think I'm nervous to make them a bit further apart, but I guess I can always... I don't know. I don't know. We're just doing what we're doing. Yeah, because that one's a bit further apart, but I don't... Okay. I'm gonna flip it over and cut these. So this is the current amount that we have done. And we have the rest of this to go. So obviously we still got lots to do. But it's going all right. But yeah, you can see we still need like a good inch of fabric or inch of thread left over to then be able to make the knots. So there is a bit of, I don't know if it's like wastage because you then obviously can't make the loops. I wonder if I should be not like, because I'm basically threading the needle and then making a knot and essentially trapping the needle in the thread, and I wonder if I should be doing it more like cross stitch style and having it so that I can actually remove the needle. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's the satin stitch for the top, so it's the whole top that we need to fill in, and the bat. So we filled in the bat, and now the remaining one. Yeah. Do you think I should be going horizontally? Because I'm currently stitching, like, I'm doing this and then stacking on top. From outline to the outline. Yeah, so I'm currently going from one side of it to the other. So we started on this side, and so or this side, and now I'm satin stitching all the way to the other side. But we weren't sure because we were talking earlier. I don't know if I should have been making these stitches a lot larger, if I should be making them smaller. So I think we decided that it might look a bit like not as nice if we did longer stitches. So I've been doing shorter ones, but maybe the next time we do a longer satin stitch instead of these smaller ones. Yeah. Lurking down. Yeah, no problem, Jane. I appreciate the lurky lurks. Yeah. So I think, you know, we'll finish at sort of this length, and then maybe the next attempt will go a bit longer and we'll sort of vary it and see how that goes. Because I think you're right. If we don't start making these a bit bigger, it's going to take a million years to do this. And we would like to, you know, not take a million years. We want to take a little bit less time. But yeah, so we'll still do the long, but then I think, yeah, we will increase. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it is. It's trying to find that balance between wanting it to be neat and not wanting to pull my hair out with how long it's taking. Separating this from that. Right, attempt, yeah, okay. All the fingers and toes crossed. Be like, listen, sir. You need to go have a little snooze. Again, all the fingers and toes crossed. But yeah, I don't know if I should be... No, I do? I don't know. We'll try it this way. Though I'm not convinced. Oh, that was so funny. Did you tell him? Did you be like, obviously I was hanging out with Tash, so I could, you know, I had more important things to do. I think he understood. Yeah. Catch you later. Have a good evening, Aurora. I'll chat with you soon. Bye. Didn't ask for an explanation. Oh, that's all right then. Okay, let's finish this infill. And by finish, I mean finish this one section and then attempt larger stitches for our own sanity. Try. Well, my goal was sort of like Pinky's width. I think they got a bit smaller than that, but I think we'll try obviously more than that. Maybe 1.5 Pinkies and like stick to that. almost, we have, what is it? 1, 2, 3 more scalloped edges of this Delia's 90s looking top. Make sure we're not getting any knots in the back here. There we go. I'm actually getting quite warm, and I think I need a little snack, which is annoying because I felt I had a pre-stream snack, but apparently it wasn't enough. Because I'm feeling a little bit peckish. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna go grab a snack. Oh, don't fall over. There we go. Keep that there. Let me see. Can you? There you go. Let's show you shadow. Usually I use the BRB, but you know, here guys, you can have some sleepy shadow content while I go get a snack. There you go. I didn't want you to feel left out. Jess, hello. You just caught me. I needed to go grab myself a snack. And then I felt bad. I felt like I left Shadow out, so I got him a snack too. How you doing? Oh, yeah, cool. Maybe don't lick your junk on the stream, Shadow. That's very inappropriate. Yeah, you're being a little vulgar right now. Okay. They have a mind of their own, don't they? He has full rabbit mode, then he usually has one or the other, or they completely disappear. Yeah? Where's your ears? Eh? Where's your ears? Shadow. It's moving slightly. Yeah, it's moving slightly. Been lurking, yay! Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm attempting, you know, we're satin stitching up a storm, or at least attempting to. Here, look, you want to go belly up, don't you? Let's hit the belly up button. Come on. Ready? Belly up! Oh, I used the word. Ready is a trigger word for him. Yeah. There you go. No, you're lying down again. Maybe you will go belly up. I know you want to. No. Just feets. Just a tangle of feets over here now. Yeah. I'm talking about your feets. I know. Hello. Can you go up? Yeah, you want to go belly up. I know you do. Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. I don't know if you can... What does he look like right now? I can't really see. Oh, there you go. There's just a belly. Just a torso. Excellent. Excellent. Can we move you over a little bit? So we're not just staring at your junk. Though I guess then you can't really see me, but like, come on. Who are you here for, really? Yeah. Who they here for, really? There we go. Exactly. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Can we still kind of... I don't know. Oops. I don't know why it does that. Go back in your spot. Okay, there we go. We can sort of half see both of us. Yeah. All right. Let's attempt to finish this satin stitch and move on to bigger stitches. And by that I mean more satin stitching. Oh. There's a little gap there, but that's fine, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Okay. Oh, I'm also getting warm too. Let's take this off. Here we go. Now we both camouflage into the sofa, kinda. Yeah, we're both devoid of color, aren't we? It was really funny. I think last time my nephew came over and Liam was giving Shadow kisses, and he's 5, right? And he's like, ew, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm giving Shadow a kiss. Like, why do you think it's gross? And he's like, you can get hair in your mouth. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine though. These are the sacrifices we make. Yeah, we give him kisses all the time, and he just sits there and takes it. Usually on his head. We just come over to him and just like give him kisses, and he just kind of stands there or sits there and is like, yeah, whatever. My humans are being obnoxious again. I wonder if the heat's on or something. Because usually it's freezing down here, so I don't know what this change of pace is. What this change of environment is, truly. Sounds like it's me. I'm hot stuff. You are. Look at this belly. Look at this bald. He has like a bald spot here. Just skin. So we like to smack it. He's like, don't play with my bald spot. But yeah, because he doesn't have, like, because greyhounds only have a single coat. Hello. Yeah, come on. You can do it. Yeah, they only have a single coat, so they don't have a double coat. So usually it's the double coat in dogs that shed. So he doesn't really, like, he sheds, but it's not an insane amount. But because he only has a single coat, like, that's why you see a lot of greyhounds and whippets wearing jackets and things, because they all got little bald spots here. They don't got fur on their bellies, so they need a jacket to keep them warm. usually, like today, for instance, it was a bit colder, and so usually he has a harness, but we put a jacket on him as well. We had to MacGyver it though, because he's such a weird shape. It's true. They have to succumb to it. It's like, listen, I give you free room and board. You cost an arm and a leg in terms of your food and your care. You're gonna let me cover you in kisses. That's the rules. But yeah, so we have this jacket for him, and what I'll do usually is we'll put it on to then get to the field or get to the park. And then after he's had his first big zoomie, I'm like, okay, you've warmed up. We can take the coat off now. But then we had to put it back on again because it started to rain when we were going home. But it all sorted itself out. All right. You running? You having dreams? You ever have that where dogs will have like little dreams when they're sleeping and they'll just start doing like little yelps and they'll just be like moving their feet and stuff around while it's happening? It's adorable. So I think one time he like had a nightmare or something because Liam and I were upstairs in our room and we heard him like yelp or bark and we're like, oh shit, like is he okay? And then we checked on our little like doggy spy cam we have for him down here. And he was fully, like, sparkoed. He was fully asleep. And we're like, okay. But he just, like, made an audible yelp. And we're like, okay, I guess he had a bad dream, woke himself up, rolled over, and went back to bed. Fair enough. That's what most of us do, don't we? I keep thinking it would be interesting. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos or like the TikToks and stuff on the internet where they usually do it with cats, where they'll take an entryway and they'll put like a strip of tape and see if the cat can jump over it, and they'll slowly increase the level of tape along the door to see how like the cat can jump over it. And I always think it would be really fun to do with Shadow because I think he can probably jump really high, but we kind of don't want him to know this. Because the fence on this side of the house, the neighbor's one, is not like 6 feet. It's broken. They still haven't fixed their fence. And so I think, like, especially if every once in a while we see foxes in the yard and he'll see them in the neighbor's yard and he looks like he wants to jump over the little makeshift fence that we do. So I want to see, like, I just am curious to see how far he can jump or how, high he can jump. But I don't want him to know how high he can jump because then I think he might Houdini out of the backyard. Or at least not out of the full backyard, but at least into the neighbor's yard, which would not be ideal. Your Jack does that every night. Aww, yeah. Oh, he has little dreams. Yeah. Oh, when dogs are dreaming, it's the cutest thing ever. But yeah, I guess they like move and squirm though, don't they? And it's like, I need to sleep. Luckily, I'm like a pretty heavy sleeper, so like Shadow will sleep in the bed and it's not like a huge deal, but I think it wakes Liam up. Especially when, cause Shadow now, he jumps into bed to snuggle with Liam. And there was a moment where we have like touch censored side table lamps, and I think he accidentally did this one night, and now what'll happen is, usually he whines for Liam to like let him into bed, and sometimes he doesn't. So then what Shadow will do is he'll take his nose and he'll boop the touch censored side table lamp and it'll turn the light on. And of course that's annoying because you got light shining in your face while you're trying to sleep. So then Liam has to let Shadow into bed. And we're like, he didn't even mean to do that on purpose. And now he's like figured out a hack. He's a pretty smart cookie sometimes. He's not like, it's so funny because he is quite smart. But I do think that he's not the best sight hound. And also because he's meant to be a sight hound, I don't think his nose is calibrated very well. It'd be interesting to see if it would be now. But I remember one time I tried to do a thing with him when he was a bit younger where I did like hide and seek treats, and I hid treats all over the living room to see how long it would take him to find them, and he was walking right past them. He was sniffing them, but like was, you know, the treat would be here and he'd be sniffing all the way over here or over there, and I'm like, dude, like it's right here. So I had to lead him to these treats. It was so silly. So I'm like, okay, maybe your sniffer's kind of broken. But then sometimes too, we'll be playing with his ball in the field because he likes an excuse to run really fast. And you know, most of the time, to be fair, he's getting better and he'll clock it and he'll bring it back. But then sometimes he runs right past it and then he turns around and he's looking for it, and I have to keep track of where the ball is. Because what'll happen is he'll just find a smell and he'll be like, whatever, I'm doing other things. And I'm like, we still need to find your tennis ball, my dude. So basically when I throw it, I can't watch him run. I have to watch where the ball lands so that if he doesn't get it, I know where it is. Because there's been a few moments where like it's taken a good 5-10 minutes to find this ball because I've watched him run, like I'm trying to film, like, you know, I'll make a video of him running or something. And then I'll look and I'll be like, shit, where's the ball? And he's like, oh no, I don't care. There's something else I want to smell over here. And I'm like, dude, where's your ball? He's like, I don't know, you find it. And I'm like, you're a sight hound, sir. Use those sight eyes and find it. But no, he's like, I'd rather not. So he's hit or miss, right? I'm like, he's a real smart cookie in one instance, and then in another instance, he's like, nah. He really likes those puzzle games. So we have all those, like, we have these different puzzles that he had, like, that he uses, where you put treats in them and he has to use his nose to, like, open up the little compartments to get the treats out. And we were doing them in front of my my mother and father-in-law, and because they had a lab, and like, you know, my father-in-law's used to having lab type dogs, and of course they're so food motivated, right? But they're like sometimes kind of lazy about it. And so their lab, his name was Rebel, and so he's watching Shadow go through this toy and, like, you know, actually solving the puzzle and pulling out all these treats. And he's like, Rebel would just pick the toy up and drop it a bunch of times until it broke and all of the treats fell out. And I'm like, yeah, no. Shadow actually does enjoy the actual, like, puzzle of it all. So I thought that was really funny. But yeah, some dogs have a real interest in, like, games and puzzles and play and whatever, and other dogs are like, nah, let me find the lazy route. And honestly, I admire that. Sometimes I too just want to bang something until food comes out. You know, if I just, like, drop it enough times, and then it gives me what I want. Just closing the gap with these little guys. I don't know if this is kind of looking messy, but there's kind of nothing I can do about it, so I don't know. Oh, you twitching. Okay. Oh, no, that is not that. Nope. But I think we can just fill this gap that we left. Yeah, that works. Sorta, kinda, maybe. Okay, now is this small enough that we can fill this in? I feel that, honestly, right? You're like, can I just... Like, you're making me work for Treatos? That's rude. He's also doing this new thing now, sometimes when we're playing, where he likes to run through our legs. And I have to tell him, like, we can do it. Luckily, like, Liam and I are a little bit, like, taller. But I keep thinking, because like when my mom comes to visit or something, like I guess everyone else, it's really just like the mums, because Liam's mom, like my mother-in-law, is quite short as well, where I'm like, you can't run through the legs of everyone because some of them are too short for that. Like, you're very tall. I have to go up on my tippy toes when he does it just to make sure that he doesn't accidentally like get stuck. But yeah, he loves doing that. Okay, I'm gonna try to go a lot higher up with this and then see what happens. Because I was just kind of going with the natural sort of curvature of this, but I think we need to not do that and just kind of attempt. Okay, so this is our first attempt at filling this in. And so I'm a bit, because when we did the test, okay, so here's us finishing the edge. And then now we're going to go along the top of it and add a bit more length. And so in the test satin stitch we did, I was layering the satin stitches over top, and it looked very obvious that there was a gap, like that there were two different lines. So I'm going to try, obviously, to make it a little bit more seamless, but we'll see what happens. This is a learning experience, obviously. It's like you almost have to go into the stitches further back, maybe? I don't know. Hey, what do you think, Shadow? He's like, I don't know, I'm a dog. You don't have any thoughts and opinions on embroidery techniques that you would like to share with the class? No? Okay. It looks all right, though, so far. It's pretty wild, because I feel like I was just thinking about how long this is gonna take, and it's March soon, which is wild. And I was joking about how originally this craft kitting experience, like going through and doing all these craft kits, was going to be about a month long for the month of January. But obviously the crafts kept coming, and, you know, by the time we finished them, we ended up moving into February. We took a break for celebrations, obviously. And now we're back at this, and this is the final one. But then I joked, like, oh, what are we going to do after this? Well, probably, like, potentially for my birthday, maybe I'll end up getting more craft kits. And it might be that by the time we finish this, it'll be around the time of my birthday, which is March 21st. I have a feeling we'll finish it before that, but, like, guys, March is, like, February is zoomed past. January's zoomed past. Honestly, like, the first few months, zoomed past. So it could be that craft kits just keep coming and they don't stop coming. And, you know, my cross-stitch whips are just forever crying in the corner. I'll have to start working on them off stream, or else they're just never gonna get done. They're just never gonna get done. But yeah. Because I feel like we're still a ways away for us having to worry about what we're gonna work on next, because we're still craft kitting away. I think we can probably get away with doing a bit more of this before we tie it off. But, you know, I think Cozy Couch Friday is a thing. Because, you know, pretty much 9 times out of 10, we're almost always going to be downstairs on Fridays. So if we can make, you know, shadow couch hangouts a thing, we're going to try. I think we might need to finesse the setup a bit more. It's not bad, but, you know, not bad for a first attempt at a new location. It's like when we did our first baking stream, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then it did. So, you know, we're expanding, trying new things, going beyond our initial comfort setup. You're gonna, oh, no, I'm not. Maybe we did make this too small. Because even though I can take the needle out now, it's still a bit of a pain to knot. Okay, there we go. Couple knots there. I think that's all right. Where'd my scissors go? There they are. They were under the pattern. That was a little less scary than when we lost the needle. We found them both. But at least the scissors weren't somewhere in the couch. That was scary. Okay, I think this is going well. So here we are with the next layer of infill of satin stitch. So I guess we just keep going. How are we doing for time? Got about 20 minutes. I think we can get some more done. Get some more shiz done. Okay. This has been in front of my face the whole time. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. There we go. Cool. Cool. Let's take a drink of water while we're at it. Stay hydrated, friends. Take a drink if you've not in a while. Stay hydrated. Live your best life. Hey, you living your best life, Shadow? He's like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, thank you. If we can get this next row and a bit of satin stitch infill done, I think I will be happy. Because we did, yeah, I don't know. I think now that we're gonna do longer stitches, obviously it won't take as long, but I don't think we'll finish it by the end of stream today. That's all right. Just means we will be back on Tuesday doing more. Ooh. I do think, though, it was a good idea to not trap the needle in the double. Hello. Oh, are you on the move? Hi. Can I help you? What are you doing? Do you want to come back over here? Do you want to get down? Do you want to get funky? What are you doing? Your head is all the way down there. Hello? Big yawn. I don't think you know what you want. There you go. What are you doing? Hey? You gotta figure yourself out. Are you stuck? You gonna turn around again? Yeah? Oh, good boy. There we go. There we go. Took you a minute. But we got there in the end. Can we move us back over a little bit now that your face is back over here? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, your head's right here. That's cute. Okay. Okay. There we go. Sure. Check out my scalp. Here we go. See, he's such a... It's one of those where it's not like he's moving far, but the fact that he is moving is then causing a need to rearrange to make sure we keep him in the frame. I think it wouldn't be a problem if, it's because the webcam mount or the webcam wire is only so long for the overhead camera portion. And so it's like, ideally what would happen is I could have the laptop, like the original screen, quite far away, but then I wouldn't be able to have like a craft camera. And so it's sort of like this in-between situation right now. But that's okay. We're making it work. We're making it work. The star of the show. Yay? Yeah, the star of the show. There. Sure. Sort of, kind of, maybe. Motorcycle noises. Could be motorcycle, it could be like a car. I don't know, man. I get people are into cars and like car culture, but like I'm not a fan of big noises. I'm like, if you got big, like, I don't know, spoilers or muffler sounds, I'm like, nah. Cars don't need to be loud. They just need to get you from point A to point B. That's all we need. Every once in a while. He's a lot better about it now, but before, like, anytime a motorcycle or, like, a Vespa or something would drive by, or, like, in the neighborhood and stuff when we're out on walks, he'd always want to run after it and bark at it and stuff. He's getting a bit better, but I think he's kind of like, what is this fast zoomy thing? I am a fast zoomy thing. But yeah, neither of us like loud noises, do we, bud? I'm like, you don't like loud noises until you are a loud noise. He never used to bark a whole lot, and now when he's really excited, he's like almost impatient with me. And when we're gearing up to go for a walk, he'll like bark at me in the garage. So the garage will be, he'll be sitting there and he'll be barking and it'll be echoing. And I'm like, well, if you stop barking at me and running around, I could put your lead on and we could go. But instead he's like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, yeah, we will when you simmer down. I think he's slowly figuring it out. But sometimes he's just like way too hype. Yeah. You get so hype for walkies. You wouldn't be able to tell now. You wouldn't be able to tell now. So we always call you world's fastest couch potato. Your ears look like bat wings now. They do. They look like bat wings. excited. We're getting takeaway tonight for dinner. I think we're gonna do Chinese food. We've not done that for a while. We've not done takeaway for a while. I feel like we've been very, we've been doing well. We've been making food at home. But sometimes you just want a good old fashioned takeaway. Not even fast food. I don't know. Just eat. We got do you ever have that where you have your orders down? I think because I have celiac disease and stuff, it's you work out the things you can eat. Whereas I think when my in-laws, when they'll order a Chinese food or they'll order Indian food or whatever, they'll get almost a bunch of stuff, and then everybody will sort of help themselves to all the different bits and pieces. But it's when you have so many different food limitations, you're no, this is my standard order. And then when people are when you're oh, what do you want? Then it's oh yeah, I need to have a standard order, as opposed to when you order with the family and everyone sort of just has a little bit of everything together. Because it's also 9 times out of 10, if Liam and I wouldn't necessarily be able to do that, because the stuff that he would want to eat is full of the gluten, so I cannot eat it. Is there a random alarm in that game? It's weird. Stay with me, Pizza Friday. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we have these DIY pizza bases. So we had pizza last night, so we're oh, takeaway, and it's oh no, we already had at home pizza. But yeah, Pizza Fridays, I like that. I think that's an excellent idea. Pizza Fridays. Because, we deserve it after a long week. Treat yourself, if you're able to. And if you find that a treat. Everyone's got their own treats. Does this song have a freaking timer sound in it? That's not chill. That's not chill. I know it's not my phone, because it's over here. It wouldn't be making those noises. Set an alarm? What's a $3 just you? Yeah. It's good though once you find, especially too, because you have, you know what it's like when you are oh, I have all these dietary restrictions, but then when you find a place that doesn't set your bowels aflame, it's the most glorious thing in the world. You're just thank goodness that there is a place where I can get myself some fast food, some comfort food that doesn't cause me to have gastrointestinal explosions, Because it's rough. It's rough. Or I guess sometimes, depending on what it is, I think sometimes people just take the L and they're whatever, I know I'm gonna pay for this in the morning, but I want it now. But no, I think places are getting a lot better at accommodating food intolerances, and so it makes it so people like us can actually enjoy days out. Gone are the days where all you can have is a side salad at a restaurant. There's an actual whole ass menu for you, which is wild. I feel back in the day it was oh, do you want the side salad with no dressing and no croutons? It's oh, okay, I'm a rabbit? Question mark. And now it's here's a whole ass menu for you. And you're thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are out of the dark ages. To be fair, there are still, I don't know, I feel there's still a long way in some aspects. And obviously not everywhere. And the other thing too, and not, sometimes it's hard. I think whenever Liam and I go to a small town, where there's not a lot of food options, where you have to call the restaurant and you can't go see them on Just Eat or something like that. They're not always super accommodating. Yeah. Could never. Yeah. Push sometimes. I feel like most people who can't do dairy will sometimes like take a little sneaky treat with the dairy, but you're right. You can't, especially now that it is so much more accessible. And also too, I think the longer you go without it, it's like when it is in your system, your body gets so sensitive and they're like, what is this foreign contaminant, you know? So you're like, I got shit to do. I don't have time to, I got shit to do. I don't have time to be on the shitter. You know what I mean? Like you got a life to live. Ain't nobody got time for that. Alright, so we're just about finishing up here. We got about 5 minutes, so if anybody has any raid suggestions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, we do what we normally do, and we go and see which of our friends is streaming. And we go and say hi to them. I think we'll finish this here, maybe? Yeah, we'll do a couple more. And then we'll be back on Tuesday. Back upstairs. Back in the crafting zone. Back in the craft zone. You've been gluten-free forever. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I got diagnosed with celiac disease in the 7th grade. So that was like, I was like 11 or 12. And yeah, there was like only frozen rice bread back in the day, and it was garbage. We basically just said it was cardboard that you used as a vessel for your peanut butter and jelly. Like that's all it was good for. But even then too, and I remember too, like when I was in grade 9 and stuff, every once in a while I would like have a cheat day here and there, but then yeah, over time it just became like not worth it. But yeah, thank goodness the quality of the food has evolved like threefold. We're at 11 years now, yeah. It's definitely, I don't know, it's so funny when you meet people who are like, oh my god, I could never, because I love X food or whatever, but then it's like you said, you're like, okay, I've been doing this for about a decade now, like I got this shit on lock, I know what I'm doing. And also there's so many things that don't have gluten in them. It's like the biggest culprits are like sauces and then obviously like baked goods. But in terms of like your meat, your veg, your fruit, your dairy, even your like all dairy alternatives, like none of those as a default have gluten in them. I think the biggest annoyance though was like getting celiac disease or like going gluten free is you realize how many things, I don't know, like I think the biggest thing for me was it sounds really silly, but Dairy Queen, so many of their blizzards are just cookie pieces. And I'm like, why can't you have, why? And then of course to the blizzard machine, obviously they don't like necessarily clean them very well in between and stuff. So you just have sundaes, and like sundaes are fine, but it's like, I want a blizzard. And you're like, but all of them, or they're like super chocolate deluxe brownie explosion. And you're like, well, can I just be a chocolate? And it's like, no, we gotta have brownie pieces and cookie pieces and, you know, crispy gluten cluster pieces. And I'm like, why? Why? Yeah, my insides ripping out from behind are not worth a Boston cream anymore. No, it's true. It's true. You get to a point where you're like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah. Dairy Queen's brutal. I don't like that. I'm like, why? Why does everything have cookies and brownies in it now? They're like, it's for a crunch factor. I'm like, you know what also has crunch? Toffee. And toffee doesn't have gluten in it. You can get your crunch elsewhere. All right, let's see. So here's where we're ending today. In terms of, so we're not bad. We've filled in the bat. We are slowly filling in the shirt. And hopefully by the end of next week, we will at least have finished the satin stitch. I would like for us to obviously have completed more than that, But I'm also not holding my breath because we know how I'm infamously bad at predicting how long these things are gonna take. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back here. Go back over here to this sir. There you go. Put the spotlight back on the puppo. And we'll go see. Don't fall. Okay. Yeah, not bad, eh? Not bad for 3 hours. Obviously on paper, like it does look like we've achieved a lot. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's not too bad. But yeah, let's go see. Should we go see who's online? Yeah, we're gonna raid someone. Who is online? Who's this? Pop art, soap passion, maker bug, Saul. Ooh, I don't know. Makerbug's been making this really cool sensory. Ooh, Mrs. Beekeeper is knitting with handspun yarn. Ooh, let's go do that then. Let's go make a new friend. I like that idea. Thanks, you too. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it so much. Okay, let's go find, who is it we're going to find? Mrs. Beekeeper. Okay. Let's go find Mrs. Beekeeper. Cool. I also like the name. Does she have bees? I hope she has bees. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Let's go and raid them. Make a new friend today. Beekeeper. Okay. All right. So again, we will be back upstairs on Tuesday, hopefully completing our satin stitch, but obviously not likely. And we're just gonna, keep her going. Thank you so much for hanging out. The inaugural Cozy Couch Friday with Shadow. Yeah, featuring you. We'll try to do more of these. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to make myself more comfortable and make everything more ergonomic for us. But, work in progress. We're figuring it all out. But I think it was good. I think it went well. I think I need to, maybe do some leg stretches afterwards. But that's what happens when you sit on the couch for multiple hours anyway, right? So, anyway, let's go and raid Mrs. Beekeeper. Yeah, free Fridays. Bye.